All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. My name is KPZ here on the home of the Slightly Above Average Ship Review. Someone is trying to blow up my phone. I'm not having that right now. We're recording a video here on Greece. It is a domination match, and we are in the campaign ship, the Provornyy. We are down tier. There's 8s and 7s with aircraft carriers, although it's a Graf Zeppelin, so in theory I don't have as much to worry about as if it was not a German aircraft carrier. In theory, the Provornyy actually has pretty good AA, if I remember correctly. Going to the history books, the Z-33 was a Type 1936A, parentheses MOB, parentheses destroyer built for the Kriegsmarine. It was assigned or allocated to the Soviet Union in 1946. The correct name of the ship actually has 2 Y's at the end and not just one, because that's how they spell that. Anyway, served as a destroyer in the Soviet Navy until 1945, or 54, pardon me. So 45 to 54 served as a destroyer, and 54 became a training ship, was converted into accommodation ship the following year, badly damaged by a fire in 1960, scrapped in 1962. So essentially, if you are familiar with these MOB type destroyers or 1936A destroyers, you got 150 millimeter guns, so it's really nice against cruisers. Not pictured in this match. I had a cruiser try to gunfight me once, and it really didn't work out well for him. He was just sitting there about 5 or 6 kilometers away, plunking away at me with HE, and meanwhile I'm citadeling him every salvo. Not every round of every salvo, but at least one per salvo. And so, needless to say, it didn't work out for him. That was a match after this match. This is the very first match on the ship. So yeah, I played a handful of other matches. None of them were better than this match. I had more kills than another match, but there you can see we get a couple of torpedo strikes on a ship that is hidden to us, apparently the Adriatico, and we get a third torpedo strike and finish them off. First blood, devastating strike, kill number 1. That is how it's done, folks. All right. Z-46 is still over there in the cap, so we'll keep that in mind. We're doing a slow circle here and seeing what's going on. And I was hoping somebody else would light the Z-46 back up. It's kind of a behind an island, so right now I'm not sold that we're going to have a chance to shoot at him, putting his smoke screen up. I really wish I had more torpedoes, but I do not. And as you can see, once you get the angle to the right place, that rear turret no longer becomes available to use. So keep that in mind when taking too acute of an angle. All right, our Adriatico is moving in on the Z-46. And it looks pretty even. Adriatico dumped a bunch of torps, took some damage from off screen. The Z-46 got erased by another set of torps. Will he kill the Adriatico with his torps? No, he will not. All right, very good. They have lost 2 destroyers and we haven't lost any. That is a bad sign if you are on the red team. There is the Massachusetts. I'm not even going to really look. He is out of torpedo range. As you can see, we're going to launch into the smoke screen just in case. There's one more destroyer over there. And if not, then... Oh, there is a destroyer over there, but he looks like he's outside the circle. All right, we're going to take a hit here. I couldn't really avoid that. The one thing I will say about this build specifically is it impacts rudder shift a lot, and so I would consider, we're barely going to dodge this one. I would consider picking skills that don't impact the rudder shift, because I found the ship not really maneuverable. One of my other matches, the one with 3 kills, we ate a torpedo and definitely like, oh, just it's bad. All right, Jaeger, your HE is good. It's not great, but here you can see the Jaeger ate a torpedo, and we are going to finish him off right there. I found, again, the HE isn't as powerful as the AP is, respectively, but it's still really nice. Although I don't think if you're not using Trubetskoy, it might not have a great fire chance. Amalfi out here, we did switch armor piercing in case he comes around. By the way, I'm not using Trubetskoy in this match, so just calculate that in. We don't have any of his fire starting abilities, so that's just between you, me, and the wall. All right, loitering around in the cap. I was kind of hoping that this cruiser would stupidly onrush me and let me light him up with my armor piercing. He is gonna come around the corner, but not in the way I would have hoped. So I am going to decide to exit the cap, stage left. Good idea, bad idea, don't know about the idea. There is the Amalfi, and here is a look at the armor piercing, and there are 2 Citadel hits and our 3rd kill. Was hoping for a kill pinch here on the 4th, but before my shells get near the Musashi, he dies. All right, so we got 3 kills. We did not get a base cap in Alpha because I got better things to do. Smolensk can handle that over there. This other destroyer, they're trying to kill these ships over here, and I'm like, wait a minute, why am I leaving? All the enemies are over here. Let's turn that beat around. All right, so back we go into the cap. There is the mass. Massachusetts. So really, I don't think there's a need for an in-depth analysis. If you have some of those bigger caliber German destroyers, that's what this ship is, you know? Play it like you play those ships. It virtually has almost all the same stuff. Now, torpedoes are a little different. You have some longer range torpedoes, which generally Soviet destroyers may not have access to. So that's something to keep in mind. We sent 1 salvo out before the sinking wreck of the cruiser. We will send another salvo when we're in the clear, and then we're just going to keep going instead of nosing in. I'm going to let the torpedoes do the work for me. And we'll cut this corner pretty tightly. And the Massachusetts either saw them coming or turned independent of me launching, and so he's going to avoid several of them. All right, he's going to avoid all of them, and that pretty much means that there's no 4-kill game in our future here. So all things said, is the Provornyy a good campaign ship? I think it is. Not that Russian destroyers needed help against cruisers. As you know, or should know, many of them routinely spank cruisers at close range. I think the bigger caliber gives you a little bit more room for damage against up-armored foes. So I bought the campaign. I think it's worth it. Here we are on the victory screen. We have a first blood medal, Dev Strike medal, 43,312 total damage. 3 torpedo strikes, 3 kills, couple of Citadel hits on that cruiser, 3 cap defended flags. The numbers kind of speak for themselves, although we didn't have a lot of damage. Almost 660,000 silver, 10,000 ship XP, 2,700 green XP, 17,800 commander XP. We finished number 2 on the board. 2 medals, 3 kills, 2399 base XP. I will probably do a full review of the ship when I get a different match that shows some different stuff. but I thought you might want to know if it's worth investing your dubs, and I think it is.